A special visa called EB1A for people who achieve some stuff in arts, science, sports, business, or other fields. And then I was a filmmaker at that time.
Really?
Yeah, I was making movies. And
in Uzbekistan?
I have dreams, right? I went to Hollywood directly and I wanted to break in.
Hollywood. I got two questions for you. What do you do and how do you do it? Because he was driving a Ferrari there.
You create a website about pinball, like you sell pedals, tables, robots, and then you're number one. But salaries.
Yeah, this is the question that you wanted to avoid.
I went away, but I coming back.
Even you're telling me, oh my God, I'm thinking about how long I have to work hard to get that level because I have no idea for a person like me.
But comparing Uzbekistan to America, they say time is money, right? I always say, no, time is way more than money. Because you can't buy money, you can't buy time. Time is not endless. SpaceX. Yeah, exactly, SpaceX. And then Blue Origin, it's Amazon's, like Jeff Bezos, same thing, a rocket company. Very smart guy, Uzbek. I don't know if it's coming back. If you meet all of them, that's your destiny, that's your career, and that's what you should do with your life.
50,000
words in 10 seconds.
All right. How do you do it? Let's try.
Let's do it. Second question, more important. This is a tricky, fun question, but if you don't get it right, you don't get a prize.
Ibrat farzandlari loyihasi yoshlar duch kelishi mumkin bo'lgan muammolar, ularga shaxsiy keyslar va yechimlar haqida aynan ularni bevosita boshdan kechirgan shaxslar bilan intervyular jamlanmasidir. Bundan tashqari, asal yeyish uchun arilarga talangan oramizdagi muvaffaqiyatli tengdoshlarimizning hayotiga bo'lgan baland pastliklar. Muvaffaqiyat degan so'z ularning talqinida qanday bo'ladi? Balki to'xtashim kerakdir degan vaqtlarda o'zida kuch topib oldinga qadam tashlagan shaxslar, ularning barchasi o'zlarini Ibrat farzandlari deb atashadi. Qahramonlarimizning yosh kategoriyasi, jinsi, ijtimoiy kelib chiqishi, bosib o'tgan yo'li, yo'nalishi, tanlagan hayot falsafasi, prinsiplari, duch kelgan qiyinchiliklari, keyslari, keltirilgan yechimlari va boshqa jihatlari turli xil. Lekin ularni birlashtiruvchi yagona narsa bu ularning matonati. Taqdirlar har xil, muammoga yondashuv ham. Bularning barchasi Ibrat farzandlari tilidan so'zlanadi.
Assalomu alaykum barcha bizani muxlislarimiz, aka-ukalarimiz va opa-singillarimizga, ayniqsa ilm borasida ilmga chanqoq bo'lgan yoshlarimizga va yosh kattalarimizga bizdan salom. Bugungi studiyamizda ajoyib mehmonimiz bor va men ularni o'zlariga bir navbat beraman, ularning tushuntirishlari haqida. Ya'ni oldingilardan farqli o'laroq bizani bugungi suhbatlashadigan, maslahatlashadigan, sizlar bilan bo'lishadigan mavzuyimiz biroz noodatiyroq. Ya'ni ingliz tilida emas, ya'ni hozirgi dunyo miqyosida eng gigantlar deb atalgan, ya'ni giants deydi, gigantlar deb atalgan kompaniyalar haqida, o'shalarning birida ishlab kelgan, ya'ni tajriba jihatida juda ko'p tajribalar va shogirdlarga erishgan insonimiz Shavkat aka bugun bizning studiyamizda. Shavkat akaga navbat beramiz va harakat qiladilar. Ular bizda bugun sizlarga ham qiziq bo'lsa kerak, sohalarini aynan ingliz tilida tushuntirishga. Chunki aynan IT sferasida biz kirib kelar ekanmiz, ishlatiladigan terminlarimizni va asosan ishlarimizni, ya'ni aynan shu tilda hozir bajarilyapti deb umid qilamiz. Shunga menimcha tomoshabinlarimizga qiziq bo'lsa kerak, aynan bu narsani Shavkat akalarning o'zidan, ya'ni bu sferaga qanaqa kirib kelganlar, qiziq jihatlari, kulminatsion joylari, ya'ni bu sferaga kirganlardan keyin ular nimalar oldilar va nimalar beryaptilar. Umuman hammasi bugun biza muloqot qilamiz va juda ham bir umid qilamizki, suhbatimiz qiziqarli bo'ladi. Va eng qizig'i shundaki, bizani odatimiz o'laroq bugun spikerimizdan ikkita savol bo'ladi va ajoyib sovg'alari bor. Bu narsani biz suhbat oxirida aytib o'tamiz. Ketdi bo'lmasa. Assalomu alaykum. Hi, Shavkat aka. So, today I really wanted you to brief about yourself. How did you get into this sphere, and how you become a member of one of the gigantic, the organizations and companies in the world, and not only known in the world, but it's also in Uzbekistan as well. So I hope that every one of us would be interested in listening to you. Please, studio is yours.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. So I came to the United States as an extraordinary alien. There's a special visa called EB-1A for people who achieve some stuff in arts, science, sports, business, or other fields, including education. And it's not that hard to get, but not many people can get the visa, surprisingly. And then I was a filmmaker at that time.
Really?
Yeah, I was making movies. And
In Uzbekistan?
In Uzbekistan as well. I made 20 short films in Uzbek Film.
Wow.
Our own studio. I have a lot of famous names who starred in my movies. So, but these are short movies. But I got some awards. I was the best producer in Canada, one Canadian festival called Giggle Shorts, and PBS, Public Broadcasting Corporation of the United States, bought 3 of my movies.
Wow.
So, and also I wrote a book. So they gave me this, special visa. So I came to the United States, and then of course I'm a filmmaker. I have dreams, right? I went to Hollywood directly, and I wanted to break in.
Hollywood.
Los
Wow, it sounds
Angeles.
good,
Yeah,
Hollywood.
sounds like really cool. And I was a dreamer. I thought it's possible. And sometimes things are not possible, really. But you gotta try, because the more you try, the more things will happen to your life. So I tried and tried. But LA is so expensive, Los Angeles, right? And I lived in Burbank, which is even more expensive. And I gotta leave, right? I have some expenses and an apartment to rent, food to eat, entertainment. And then I was looking for some job because I saved some money when I worked in Belgium, but there wasn't enough, money is getting wasted pretty quickly. So I found this job called SEO, Search Engine Optimization manager, SEO manager. I applied and they got me because I knew how to do this, because I was always good with computers. And this is how I got into IT. I'm not an IT guy, really. I still don't consider myself a real IT person, right? Because I'm too creative, not very logical. I'm too, maybe irresponsible a little bit compared to other guys. And but 20 plus years now that I'm doing some tech stuff. And not so long ago, about 3 years ago, I got the job at Microsoft as a principal PM, but also head of SEO. So SEO is my main field. Over 20 years, I do SEO. And
can you please elaborate on SEO for those who have no idea what it is, please?
Very good question. SEO stands for Search Engine Optimization. So what it is that, say you have a website, right? You sell water, and people are searching, I want to buy water, I want to buy a chair or something. And then your job is to make sure your website is number one.
At the top.
Results, at the top for the search engine result page, right? So, and then there are millions of others who also want to be on the first spot, because first spot gets about 40% of all clicks.
Wow.
Second spot gets about 13%, almost 3 times less. And then third one is 3%, even more, it's 3 times less. And then the rest gets altogether just 1%.
Now you're giving the statistics from your experience, because you worked there.
Yeah, how it works. And this is averages, of course. It will change based on the actual query, actual keyword that people search with. But these are just averages. So it's so important to be number one. It's so hard. And it's very easy to track. Can you do your job or you can't? Because if you can't get somebody, your client or your own website or your company's website, to the number one spot for that keyword or multiple keywords, you don't know how to do this stuff. But if you can, then you're pretty good, you're an expert. And this is a very in-demand profession, so I highly recommend people to actually learn SEO. They will always be in demand, they will always make a lot of money, and they can work remotely from anywhere.
Even in Uzbekistan?
Even in Uzbekistan. Uzbekistan.
Are there any experts who can teach it or teach that, sphere?
I didn't meet any yet. I think in Uzbekistan, SEO is not important because people don't go to Google and search. People go to Telegram and Instagram, right?
Social media.
Social media. They don't use search engines just yet. I mean, it's going to change for sure because, we're developing, people are looking for knowledge. Sometimes they go direct to YouTube for videos, but sometimes you still have to go to Google, Yandex, Baidu, if you speak Chinese, and other search engines and search for information. Right, so this is very important. And let me drink some water.
All right.
So another thing about SEO is that once you learn it, you will be most likely working for yourself because you will make much more money. I mostly work for myself as well for my career.
As a freelancer?
No, you have your own websites, your own business, right? So because why would you bring somebody else to the top when you bring your own? You just, let's say you're passionate about ping pong, like I play ping pong, right? So you create a website about ping pong, like you sell paddles, tables, robots, and then you're number one. You make tons of money and you don't have any boss, any schedule, anything. It's your own business. Anything you're passionate about, you just create a website, but because you, unlike many others, know how to get to the top of Google, and Google brings 90% of traffic for most websites, and it's the cheapest because it's organic. You don't pay for it, right? People just search, and it's the highest quality because people are ready to buy your stuff. They would even search, buy a ping pong paddle, and they see you, they go and buy right away. Versus you advertising, going to Facebook, Instagram, and paying a lot of money, and still they might not be interested because they're on the social network for another reason, right? They do something else. So that's how I got into SEO. And then at Microsoft, I would work for others only to learn because they're big companies, right? And I work for startups who do big things, right? And then you can't do it by yourself.
Like internships, right?
Yeah, huge stuff. So then you need a team, you need a lot of money, and then things work differently there, right? It's a different competition, different rules. So this is how you become even better as an expert. And then you can always go back and work for yourself. So this is SEO, very important. And then, Microsoft is a great company.
As a CEO expert, let me ask a personal question if it's fine for you. Can you tell the number, the salary that the experts of SEO is likely to get, or it might be your salary, it might be an expert of others.
Yeah, so there are different levels. You start as an SEO specialist,
all right?
Right? Then
it's
there's
just the beginning part.
Just the beginning, right? You don't know anything yet. You just know basics. Right? You will most likely do something that your boss will tell you, but you can come up with ideas, suggestions, but mostly you just don't know stuff. And then SEO analyst, and I'll go with salaries as well, don't worry. And then SEO manager, and then SEO senior SEO manager, and then SEO director, and then there's senior SEO director, and then vice president.
Well, it's the whole career path.
Career path. Vice president is the highest. Normally, you can get to the C level. C is like CEO, CFO, CTO, because you're an SEO person, not CEO. But the vice president is really high and very well paid.
Where were you at that list?
This is the best that I achieved was vice president.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
wow.
This is, but not at Microsoft. The company is called Bolt. I have my swag there. It says Bolt here. It's an international global company that makes
Bolt, right?
Bolt. Yeah.
Is it the abbreviation of?
No, it's just bold. B-O-L-D. It's like bold is not this bold, but bold like being strong.
I see.
Right. So, but they just got bold.com, domain name as well, and they own a lot of websites in resumes, careers, cover letter, and job search, this kind of stuff. They're leaders in the world. They are represented in many countries, but they have offices in like 4 countries. And so I reached the top, and there's nowhere else to go there. So that's why I basically...
This is the self-actualization,
ceiling, so you can't go any higher. So I'm just retired now, and that's why I'm in Uzbekistan, enjoying life, teaching and helping people. But salaries.
This is the question that you wanted to avoid.
I went away, but I'm coming back. So in the US, if you're an SEO specialist, you start with like $50,000 a year.
50,000.
It's about 4,000 a month. Right. This is gross, not net. So you pay taxes from that, but it's pretty decent. Like for a young person, good money. Right. SEO analyst which you can get in just 1 year or 2 years from SEO specialist. It's pretty fast, especially if you're smart, if you work hard, you can get there pretty quickly. That's already about 80,000.
80,000.
80,000.
30,000 plus 10.
Yeah, so it's like you get extra 30,000 right away. And then a senior SEO manager is probably, or SEO manager is probably over 100K, about 100K plus,
I see.
right? Senior SEO is 120 maybe. Director is about 200. Senior director maybe 250. Vice president is like
300, 400, 500?
yeah, it's like over 500.
Over
so it's like
500.
much higher because you
It's
get
$500,000 then.
over 500,000, and this is, I'll tell you the structure of the compensation as well. But why it's so much is because it's like extremely hard to get to that level. Like you know, most people are stuck on the director level. Like really smart SEOs who work for big companies, they can't go up. Because then you need to manage these SEO directors, right? Like I have 4 people under me.
If you have seen the movie of Pursuit of Happiness by Will Smith, have you seen that movie? And there are 2 questions. Man, I got 2 questions for you. What do you do and how do you do it? Because he was driving a Ferrari out there, and it's a dream of all young people to achieve that level without having efforts like to not working hard, but they really wanted to quick that get that level. But how hard was it for you to achieve that level? Because you told me that it's very difficult.
It is.
Even you're telling me, oh my God, I'm thinking about how long I have to work hard to get that level, because I have no idea. For a person like me who has no idea, to start which part, because you told me that you are not the IT specialist.
Yeah.
And how could a person who is not considering himself as a not IT specialist could achieve to that level? Interesting.
Yeah, it is a very good question. It's a lot of work. Yeah, it's hard work, and it takes years, right?
Years.
It's not going to happen quickly, so don't count that it's going to take just a few years to reach that level, right? And it's a lot of hard work, but mainly it's being creative, like coming up with ideas that nobody else has and implementing those ideas. Like, so ideas are not enough. You need to actually go and do it and show that it was your part, your effort to achieve something like 10x, which is 10 times more than before. All right. Normally, when I talk to my guys, I always ask them, like almost every week, guys, how can we 10x our traffic? 10x, which is incredible, right? Let's say you have 1 million people coming to your website, you want 10 million.
Wow.
Extremely hard, right? If you do something really, really good, you can double the traffic, which is huge as well. But 10x, when you ask this question, people start coming up with very good ideas because they think 1 is enough, 2, 5, 10 should be 10. So they start coming up with ideas that are so creative that they might actually work. And nobody else is coming up with these ideas because they think on the day-to-day stuff, which is pretty straightforward. You don't have to be smart or creative. So, but it's a lot of work, and sometimes it's luck as well. Sometimes it's connections as well, like in Uzbekistan, Tanish Bilish. You have to know people, right? It's the same thing in America, it's the same thing.
Is there such a word, even Tanish Bilish, in the United States as well? Not that
Connections, network.
I would say network.
Network.
Tanish Bilish is a little bit, old-fashioned word.
Yeah.
But it's something that I understand, achieving things, without making any effort. But it's network, it's different.
It has some negative connotation.
Yeah, kind of,
right? But here, you have to, and it's good. Networking is great because, it's all about people. We are people, right? If you know a lot of people and they respect you, you will achieve anything you want.
Yeah.
Because, you help them, they help you. This is how it works. But it's not enough, obviously. You need to first of all, you need to help people in order for them to help you. If you just, receive and don't give back, then nobody will help you anymore. Second of all, you need to be respected, right? So people need to respect you for something, like either you're very talented, or you're smart, or you're hardworking, or you are just generous and a nice person. Nice person is also good. They say there's no such a profession like a nice person. It will help you. It's called emotional intelligence.
Emotional intelligence.
Right? So it helps a lot. One more thing about numbers. I know people really love like money.
Yeah.
How much? So in big tech, these tech giant companies like Microsoft, Amazon, and others, things work differently. You have a base. Base is the salary, which is like what I mentioned. And that's like actually a smaller part of things. Because then there is a bonus, then there is sign-up bonus, and then there is stocks.
Wow.
And then there are benefits.
Except the fact that you get the salary.
Exactly.
You know, no matter what professions you are.
Absolutely. Yeah, no matter, even if you start at the very bottom, you get everything.
Do they also vary depending on the professions?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So for instance, engineers, as we call them, coders, programmers, developers. So engineers get more than others. Like PMs get a little less, other creatives like content writers and designers get a little less, but not that much less. So it's pretty much similar. And then just because you agree to work for them, everybody wants to work for like Google or Microsoft, right?
Of course.
Or Amazon, like, because they are great companies. I'll tell you why it's important. But when they get you, then it's on your terms. And just because you agree to work for them, they give you sign-on bonus. Separately from all these things like salaries. And sign-on bonus can be like $200K right away, $200,000 right away. Like, take it. Right? It's not like you get it right away. There's a thing called vesting. It's like 5 years or 4 years. So you get it across these 4 years, for instance. Like you get every 3 months, like a certain part of it. But you get it. It's yours as long as you work there. They just want you to hold you, and they want to hold you, and so you stay and work for them. So that's why they created this plan. And then there's every quarter or every half a year you get this bonus based on, well, every year, depends on the company, just for your hard work. It's based on performance. Sometimes you don't get it, sometimes you get a lot, depends on what you did throughout this year, right? And then there are also stocks, and stocks are most important because until recently, all these companies' stocks grew like crazy. Like when I joined in 2018, one Microsoft stock was like, share was like $107, one stock, right? When I was leaving 3 years later, it was 350.
Wow.
So 3x. So what they gave me, I got 3 times more. Because I just got the stocks, right? And stocks grew and grew. Now it's a different story. Everything is going down, but it's a good opportunity to invest. Like in 2023, if you have extra funds somewhere and you have an account in Fidelity or some, JP Morgan, some place where you can, trade and stuff, I would really highly recommend to find you this opportunity and invest into some big tech companies, because they will not die. They will have a lot of troubles. Everyone will have troubles because it's a huge crisis that's coming. It's happening right now, but it's going to be worse, I think. But that's an opportunity to invest, and then they will grow again, and you will make a lot of money, easy money relatively, because you don't have to do anything.
So you don't work only for the company, but also this is the good chance for you to become an investor and to become one of the stakeholders of that organization.
Because they give it to you. You don't even have to buy it. Startups, for instance, right? Startups are different. They give you opportunity to buy stocks because they might become a unicorn one day. And a lot of multimillionaires became billionaires or multimillionaires like that because they got stocks in the beginning. They bought it from Facebook, for instance, and then Facebook became a unicorn and they became billionaires, right? So that can happen, and that's why don't disregard startups. If you believe this startup can make it, go work for them. Do crazy stuff, and then you will be rewarded because you'll have some stocks that you can buy for really cheap and then sell. But high-tech companies like giants like Amazon or Microsoft or Apple, they just give it to you just because you work for them. And then you become a holder of the company as well, a stockholder, the owner of the company. You don't really have much voice because it's just one employee, right? But as many employees, you have a lot of voice as well. But this is just a financial opportunity too. But another benefit of working for companies like Microsoft is that you change lives of millions or maybe billions of people. For example, Windows, the operating system that everybody knows, right? There are 1.4 devices in the world, 1.4 billion devices, right? And devices doesn't mean people, because some people have multiple devices. So it's over 1 billion people using Windows in the world. So if you change it, and we work on Windows, on Office products, Excel, Word, PowerPoint. I manage a huge community called Answers. where we would provide answers to questions about our products. Like if something doesn't work, even a printer or Wi-Fi or Word or PowerPoint, we would help you. 60 million people a month would come to that site that I managed. But with Windows, for instance, you make a certain little feature, like a search bar or a start bar, right? Like anything there. Billions of people will use it, and you were the one who did this. Right? It's crazy, right? Like, so why not work for a company like that? Yeah, so very cool company. I love that, great culture, but still can't compare when you work for yourself. It's always better.
You have liberty, freedom, the time that you're going to allocate with the family as you grow up. You need to have a time. You understand that, it's time.
Absolutely.
Coming for you to spend. And well, I can give an example of a life of Steve Jobs. Maybe if he was alive, he wished he could spend more time with his family.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's how we call like life and work-life balance.
Balance,
it's very difficult for not only young but also with us working for different. No matter what we do, no matter what fields we're taking in, so it's difficult to to manage the work and life balance. I have a son, 2 sons, and sometimes they're always complaining about I'm paying attention less than I giving the time to my work. Because this is how the life works in cycle. But it's always up to us to how to manage the time balance.
One thing about time, they say time is money, right? I always say no, time is way more than money. Because you can buy money, you can't buy time. Time is not endless, like not for you. Like eternally, yes. Like space and time is endless, right? But for us, our life is limited, right? What happens next, we don't know. We go to heaven, maybe it's gonna be great. But while you're still here, your time is limited. Money is not limited. You can just go and buy or work and get the money. But time is once that minute passed, it's never coming back. So that's why it's so important. Like you mentioned, your family, you gotta spend time with your family. Time is way more important than your career, your money, your business, whatever. Because eventually you do all of that for your family. So, but they miss you, so you gotta be with them and spend time. That's another reason why I came back to Uzbekistan, just to spend more time.
Is that all about the United States you did? Or is there anything that...
I think it's good. We can cover some other things like the life in America.
Life in America.
Because people think it's great. It's
American
great.
dream. How do you?
It's a dream, right? But there are pluses and minuses. I can talk about those.
Yeah. All right. So you can start. Continue.
So about the United States, right? People think it's an amazing country, and everybody who I talk to, they say, "I want to go there. It's my dream. I want to live in the United States." And this is great. It's a great country, no doubt. I lived there for 16 years.
16 years.
16 years, yeah. And I love America. Like America is great. But why am I here? And I can compare America to Uzbekistan is that we are now at the stage of the best opportunities for us as citizens of Uzbekistan, right? Things are shifting around the world, not just in Uzbekistan, but we are kind of in the middle of things, and things are getting better and better, like almost daily I see it, right? I'm very optimistic of what's happening, and I'm glad that, my very good friend here who initially many years ago told me what's going on, look around, Uzbekistan is changing. Because I was
prospering, cherishing. I see.
And then I see what the president does, the government, with making things very easy for people and for entrepreneurs, because I'm a businessman, right? To get to work with government. It used to be pretty bad, right? A lot of bureaucracy, a lot of time wasting on things like that. Now it's so much easier. Everything is automated, everything on my phone, right? I can just use an app and just pay the bill, and it's so much easier. And they're getting transparent, they're getting feedback from people, so it's really, really cool stuff. But in general, we just have this great opportunity with what's happening in the world, that Uzbekistan might take a very interesting place in the world scene. So I definitely want to be part of it. I want to be part of opportunities, and I want to make it happen. So with my knowledge and experience, I want to share and distribute it to younger folks, especially with this program of 1 million programmers. Because they're very junior right now, so we need to teach them to become more senior. So and also be in demand around the world, not just internally or in Central Asia, but in the whole world. So this is one of the missions. But comparing Uzbekistan to America, if you want to go and live there, that's great. Go and test yourself. It's a great country. You'll learn a lot. You'll meet a lot of great people. People in America are really awesome. And they represent the whole world because they are from around the world, right? But there are also great opportunities for business. The nature is amazing. They really care about their nature, the roads, the infrastructure, the system works very well. So everything is great in that regard. Among minuses is healthcare. Any American will tell you that our healthcare is just messed up. Right? It's really bad.
In terms of financial side?
It's very expensive, right? Yes, but also, healthcare. It's messed up totally. Any American will tell you that. And it's not only because it's expensive, but also they squeezed money from you. Like they want to make sure you don't get fully recovered because then you will just go, right? They want to make sure they keep charging you. And it's really expensive. It is like
comparing to Uzbekistan, it's much more
compared
expensive.
to anywhere in the world.
Anywhere in the world.
It's like not unusual to get a bill for like $1 million. $1 million, right? You'll get covered with your insurance, most of it, but still, if you pay $100K out of this 1 million, it's just 10%, but it's $100,000, right? You just pay for your heart surgery or some brain work or something. It's some expensive stuff. Second, food is just not nearly as delicious as Uzbek food, right? Uzbek food is number one in the world, so it's hard to compare, but with others, it's just not delicious. It's plastic. The vegetables are plastic, the fruits are plastic. It's because it's all chemical, so you can't really enjoy when you eat, right? That's the second.
Did you go home? Did you go at home when you were?
Yeah, we did cook, but you cook from the local.
Local matters.
Yeah,
local
it
produce
totally does matter. Even water matters, right? And wheat, everything that you use to prepare food. But my wife, cooks a lot, and that's only what saved me because I didn't want to go to restaurants. Here we can go anywhere; it's going to be as home food like anybody else because it's so delicious. There is a cultural shift right now, which is very weird, which I don't really like. What's happening in the U.S. when they tell children that they can choose if they want to be a man or a woman, right? Like things like that. And then minorities. It's great to support minorities, but to a certain limit when it's still fair. Like now it's different. Now big companies, if you are a gay or like a transsexual, you get promoted, which is like why? Like you got to be promoted for your experience, for your contribution, for being smart, but not for your sexual orientation. So that's what I didn't like. And another minus is that there's a cancel culture. I am very much against it because people start pursuing others until they destroy them. Like if you say something, you might be wrong, you might be right, doesn't matter. You have the right to say what you believe in, right? And the society can't just punish you for that right away, unless you break the law or something like that. But if you just say something that you think is right, and because the majority doesn't agree with you, they start really killing you, like everywhere on social networks, in your real life. Or if you're a celebrity, they will cancel your shows, things like that. So I didn't like that part as well. I think it's unfair. And even if the person is wrong, like you can talk to them and explain that they're wrong, but without attacking them. They just attack people. So be careful if you want to go to the United States, be ready for this stuff. But main thing is that you will always miss your country, like I did.
Homesick?
Yeah, right. So it's 100%. Yeah. And I did a Facebook post about, I came back to Uzbekistan, blah, blah, blah. Say, like, guys, like, let's meet, my friends, relatives. Like, I meet every day, like, a lot of people. And a lot of comments were like, you make my dream come true. Like, I live here for 20 years. I live here for 15 years in France, in Sweden, in Canada, in the US. I want to go back. I don't know how. Because my kids are grown up here. I can't just leave, right? And I tell them, you can. It's up to you.
Yeah,
You just go and do it, right? It wasn't an easy decision, but once you do it, you will be happy because, first of all, things have changed a lot. Things have improved, and it's us who are going to keep improving things going forward, right? The more of us come back, the more we'll change local mentality, like some old stuff that's not great for the country, that we can improve and share our experiences, and then learn from local experiences as well, and then together bring a bright future of Uzbekistan. So that's why I'm here, and that's why I would recommend others to come back. And if you're here, my friends, come back here, you'll meet me again. So I built a huge community in Seattle as well, and overall in the United States of IT people from Uzbekistan, but it's called Central Asian Seattle. So they're from Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Tajikistan, Turkmenistan, and us. And even some people from Russia, like Tatarstan, like similar mentality, or Azerbaijan, like separate country, Bashkortostan.
It's a community.
It's a community, and they all, tech people. They all work for, Amazon, Google, Tesla. I have a guy who works for himself right now, but he builds rockets.
Wow.
Oh, actually, he builds engines for rockets. He used to work for SpaceX. Yeah, exactly, SpaceX, and then Blue Origin. It's Amazon's, like Jeff Bezos, same thing, a rocket company. Very smart guy, Uzbek. I don't know if it's coming back.
$1 billion like business. Yeah,
it's huge. It's huge. So I think. I enjoy it. I think I made the right decision. I love it. I meet people like you. I enjoy talking to people like you, smart and generous to help others. And I think it's all in Uzbekistan. It's all about helping others, right? Like people are very, and that's what people say who come here. Like right now, what's happening? A lot of Russians come to Uzbekistan because of the militarizations and stuff. And I meet with them as well, and they say, "Wow, your people are so nice." Right? They're hospitable, they're friendly on the street, they were really eager to help. So that's the uniqueness of our land, of our people, mentality of Uzbekistan, of Uzbeks. So we should keep that and keep growing. And I think it's not going to take too long for us to become even more successful as a country. So
I see. All right. Would you mind sharing the things that you would like to have while you were young, but now it's changed? Like, for example, back in like 10 years ago, when I was like 20 or 15 years, or even 5 years old, and the dream was to become an astronaut or a pilot, like which I really want my son to become, not me, but my wife wanted him to, to become a pilot, because I'm always keeping saying that, we have to let, children to choose the profession, no matter what professions. For example, if my father was an accountant, doesn't mean that I have to become also an accountant.
Yeah.
Because while I was starting learning an English language, because of the motives and the factors that I watched the videos of youth that teaching and speaking in English language. So this is what triggered me to become an English teacher, even though I have never thought of becoming a teacher. And that's why I keep saying that, it shouldn't be highly paid. It should be, even the IT spheres, even, working in Tesla, we so commonly call like the biggest companies in the world. Yeah, it's okay. But what is your dream?
Exactly.
What is your aim to help? Because no matter what you do, professions you choose, you should have a part to play in society.
Absolutely.
So the things that you wanted to do or wanted to become while you were a child, but now it might be a regret, or it might be a suggestion that for the youth that who wanted to start their career, or who are really on the milestone of just starting their career.
Yeah, great question. So when I was a kid, I was crazy, like really mad boy who would just run around. So for instance,
hyperactive.
Very hyperactive, yeah. But I also slept a lot, so it was like crazy, right? At the same time. So I wanted to be a doctor, for a military doctor. I have no idea why.
Military doctor.
My dad is a military officer. Maybe that's the military part. A doctor, like none of my family members. My auntie is a doctor, but I don't know. I'm afraid of blood. Like when I see blood, I just lose my consciousness. I just like fall, right? So I don't know why I would want to be a doctor. I'm still very shocked and surprised. Second, I wanted to be a soccer commentator. Again, it was such a weird stuff, but I thought, wow, that would be cool. I just sit and, I still comment. Like when I play ping pong, right? When people play, I would start commenting. Sometimes they would say, hey, can you shut up? Because you're just like, we're playing, right? So I'm a commentator. Maybe I talk a lot, but no regrets. I think life throws at you what you deserve and what will help you down the road. Everything happens for the good reason and for the better. Right, so it's good. Just accept it and go for it, and just keep learning new things. For younger generation, I can suggest to answer a few questions for yourself. Like first of all, what you really enjoy doing, right? So just make a list. Like even if it's singing or running, if it's not a real profession, just write it. You'll understand why later. Just make a whole list of things that you really enjoy doing, that you would do even if nobody pays you for that, even if nobody's watching, and you can spend 5 hours doing that, or you can read 50 books on that topic that you're really fond of.
But you never get bored.
Yeah, never get bored, exactly.
You got to be asking such questions before you start that career.
Exactly, so that's the number one question, right? Number two question, what are you good at, right? You might love to sing, but you might be pretty bad. And a lot of us, right, like me, like I love to sing like karaoke, but when people hear me, they say, no, please don't. So, two.
Don't you think that you should be working on it if you love what you're doing, but you're not good at it? It's a tricky question.
Very good one, right? You can, but sometimes there is a talent and sometimes there's just no talent. Right? I see people playing ping pong for 20 years and still being pretty bad because they have no talent. They learn, they go to take classes like every day, almost like a few times a week, no progress, no talent. Right? Just think, what are you talented in? Like, let's say not a good at, but like maybe talented, or what can you develop? Like as you mentioned, right? Like if you feel that you can develop it, let's say you have strong voice, right? You just don't know the notes, like you're not really a musician, but you can learn that, but because you have a talent, right? So it's important. Three, so let's say you know what you're good at, right? You love doing that, so it's not enough.
All right.
Three, how does it help people?
All right.
Right.
So you got to be thinking about social responsibility as well as an individual, how it's going to be, helpful, fruitful for the people around.
Because we live in this society, right? So we need to be helpful. Because let's say I love playing ping pong and I'm pretty good at it. How does it help people? There's no way it helps people. So it's not going to be my profession, right? Or my main thing. So think about it. And fourth, it needs to make money. For your family, for yourself, because it's good for society. You enjoy it, you're good at it, but you can't make money. First of all, you might not even get married because a lot of women would say, hey, he's unsuccessful because I will have kids. Like, how is it going to happen? Or if you are married already, your wife might say, hey, go make some money, we need some food, right? You can help people as long as you want, but there are other people who are your most important people, your family, your parents, your sisters, brothers, and your kids, and your wife. Like if you're a guy, if you're a girl, same thing basically, right? Like just make sure that you can support yourself at least, and you're not dependent on your husband, right? It's also important. So money is important, but more important is like you enjoy it, you're good at it, you help people, and this. And then there's fifth one that I brought up to this system. It should be part of your values. For instance, you love being a lawyer, right? You're good at this. You watch a lot of movies, like a TV series, you think, law is cool, right? And I have my first degree is international law. Pretty boring stuff, by the way. And then you think, by this system, everything works great. I help people, yes. I make money, yes. I'm good at this, yes. And, I love it, yes. But I am all about freedom. And law, like let's say I'm a prosecutor, right? I put people in jail. Then it's against my values. I think people should be free. And if they are criminals, they need to go to jail, but it shouldn't be me to send them there because it's against my values.
All right.
It should be somebody else who's like really That's their value. They need to put people like
Yeah.
make sure society is clean from these people, because sometimes people make mistakes, sometimes they're wrongfully accused. It happens all the time when people actually are not a criminal, like a person is not a criminal, but they go to jail for mistake or something, right? And if you're part of that mistake, you'll always kill yourself in your mind because it's against your values.
Mentally,
so
you're killing yourself.
Yeah, so it should be, so these 5 elements, if you meet all of them, that's your destiny, that's your career, and that's what you should do with your life.
I see. I see. Now, Shavkat, it's been very interesting and outbreaking, to listen to you, even the stories that you underwent your own yourself. And I would be really eager to listen to your future plans in Uzbekistan. As a contribution, what would you like to do? And mentoring staff, master classes, any startups that you wanted to, have, please share with us.
Absolutely. So I do plan to teach a little bit. Yeah, I will. It's actually, we have scheduled a few series of master classes in a couple of universities, maybe more. I know they told me about the University of World Economy and Diplomacy, which I graduated, the Team University, the new one, right? And then TUIT, the Technical Institute, and then INHAR, I think it's Korean, also technical stuff, right? And then I think world languages. So there are a few there, and inside IT Park as well, because there's a thing there called Startup Advice. So I'll do some, advice kind of master class there for SEO, by the way. But for everything else is about IT career. Then, Impact T, Avlohab. Also, I'm going, actually, I think next week I'm going to Navoi. To a school. A teacher invited me, their teacher is such a great guy, like your colleague, who's just said, people in the rural areas, they're eager to learn more than people in the city because they have less opportunities. So if someone like you comes to them, they'll see someone from America speaks English and tells them that, you can reach, the sky in the United States, become super successful from Navoi and from any other like Karshi or Samarkand. And this will inspire them. So I'm going there for sure just to inspire the kids. So these are the plans. And also with companies like startups here in Uzbekistan, I do talk a lot right now. People just pitch their startups, and I have pretty simple, straightforward investment strategy. I don't invest into new ones right now because, statistically, 99 of them will fail, right? 99 out of 100. And those out of 100, so 1% that stays, in the 3 years, 99% of those will also fail in 3 years. So I want to be super safe, right? I want to make sure that after 3 years, if they survive, they really know what they're doing, right? They might not even need my money anymore. They would say, hey, go away. Or they would say, I'll give you a little bit, and I'll be happy for that little bit because I know I will have it. Versus most companies that right now, are just starting, just have great ideas, but, I see right away they either don't have enough team or enough, cash flow or enough a good business model. It's not like very robust. A lot of things, because, business is difficult. It's complex. So when you're just young and inspiring, you think everything is possible and it's great, just go and do it. But very good chances you'll fail. And that's also fine, because you'll fail, you'll learn, you'll go, and then, it rarely happens right away. Many attempts, and then it will happen. Like anybody successful, you ask them, they will say, oh yeah, it was like my maybe 50th attempt for a business that became successful. Rarely it's earlier. So yeah, but still I will invest, I will mentor the companies, like from what I know from SEO perspective. I actually meeting next week with another company and we'll teach them SEO just because it's gonna be part of their business now, and they're aiming, foreign markets, and SEO is super important there. So these are the nearest plans. And then I want to be like you. I want to teach as well. So I will teach just English, just conversational club, not like actual teaching, like get some IELTS or TOEFL score. Like I'm not good for that, but as a conversational club, I've developed a very interesting system that helps kids and adults as well, but mostly kids because kids are better at that stuff. And I'll tell you what, to start speaking in about 3 months, pretty fast. And the system is about games. People play games, and that's why kids are better than adults, because kids, for them, it's very normal to play games. For adults, it's like, why are we playing games? I'm paying money here, I want to learn English, like, teach me English. But through games, that's how you create no barrier and you start speaking, right? Because the problem, a lot of people, they know the language. Like, everybody knows English, actually. Like, I can teach you in 10 seconds, let's say 50,000 words in English in 10 seconds. Like, I can do it now if you want.
15,000
50,000 words in 10 seconds.
All right. How do you do it? Let's try.
Let's do it. Let's do it. So I'll talk to your audience, right? So let's say a word immigration. You know immigration? How do you say it in Uzbek or Russian?
Immigration. Demoqchi bo'lganlar immigrantlar, ya'ni muhojirlar. Muhojirlar, ya'ni biror bir shahardan ikkinchi shaharga ko'chirgan muhojirlar desa ham bo'ladi. Shu so'zni hozir aytdilar. Ya'ni juda qisqa vaqt ichida, ya'ni juda ham ko'p so'zlarni o'rgatadilar. Hozir shu narsani bitta harakat qilib ko'ramiz.
Lekin rus tilini bilishingiz kerak. Chunki immigration rus tilida immigratsiya bo'ladi, to'g'rimi? Irrigation irrigatsiya.
Irrigatsiya bo'ladi. Ya'ni shin qo'shilsa noun ot bo'lib ketyapti.
Ana, to'g'ri. So if you change shin in English to tsiya in Russian, in Uzbek pretty tsiya, pretty similar, right? Then there are over 50,000 words like that that you know, like revolution, revoluция, right? Civilization.
Organization.
Exactly.
Yeah,
anything,
whatever
right?
you call,
so
you
many.
name it.
Yeah. Actually, there are 85,000 words like that. That in most languages, like in French, it's sion, right? In English, it's shin. In Russian, tsiya. In some other languages, it's very, very similar because they came from the Latin.
You taught English to kids?
Yeah.
With the games?
With the games.
What kind of games did you use? Interesting.
Oh, I developed a bunch of them by myself. Let me give you one very, very cool one. You know the game called cities, right? Cities, right?
Cities,
like
all right. I see.
Cities and towns,
I see.
right? Like, I say a town. Let's say I say Tashkent.
Right.
Tashkent is a bad name because it ends with T as well. Right? But let's say I say Bukhara. It starts with B and ends with A. And then you start with A, Angren, right? And then N, I say N, Navoi, and so on, right? So same thing, but with English words. And then there are variations. For beginners, it could be just words, and it's just going to be fast. Like I say apple, and then on E, like E, evolution, like evolution, okay, N, new, right, and so on. But or we can limit it for just verbs, just adjectives, just nouns, right, or just fruits, or just food in general, right, or just sports, right. What it does, how the brain works is that there are channels. So there's information inside there, right? And then there are channels to bring it up and then use, right? Over time, these channels get dirty. And especially when you get old, remember, old people, as you know, like sometimes forget things. Like, you know,
they become absent-minded.
Absent-minded.
Yeah.
Why it's happening is because their channels throughout so many years became so dirty and not clean that information can't pass to the active level.
What do you think it's happening?
Why? Because they don't practice, right? You need to practice, you need to train your memory. There are a lot of techniques, like one of the technique, you go to bed, you just remember your whole day, and then you will clean the channels. Same with this game, right? Because you have to remember words pretty quickly, because there's time limit, like 5 seconds, okay, 4, 3, 2, 1. They quickly start clearing those channels, and then everything becomes on the active level. Because they let's say they know 2,000 words, and they only use, let's say, I don't know, 200 words, right? So to get this other 1,800 words out there, they need to always train their memory. So these games like this really help. So it's fun game, right? There's a competition, right? People really try to compete and win, but what they actually do, they clean their channels for memory to come up, all the information to come up to the active level.
All right, I see. So this is going to be the, interesting and effective idea, I would say, suggestion for not only teachers, but also parents like us.
Exactly.
To teach not only an English language, but also different things. So through gaming, you would probably attract your children to get into, because once you involve them in the action, what you're doing, once they touch, once they feel that they are involved in that process, so that's going to be effective, I hope. And this also could be the effective way for the young parents like me to teach my children. I will consider it.
Absolutely. Try it at home. It's called, there's even science behind it. Many corporate companies like Microsoft or Google, they do that too.
Even they
do it. It's called gamification there. Well, they give you points. You do things like Bing, for instance. How Bing, the search engine. Nobody knows about Bing. It's just nobody uses Bing, unfortunately. Everybody uses Google. But actually, it's $1 billion business.
Wow.
Bing.com. Right? It's an actual search engine.
Bing.com.
Yeah, it's Microsoft, one of the biggest channels for revenues. They have a gamification system with rewards. Like you search, they give you some points, right? You do something, you answer some questions, they give you points. And thus you get you gamified, you want to do more, and then again, but it's more for money. We're talking about growth and training. So it's a good exercise. I have multiple things like that. I've developed a lot of languages. Another thing for discussions, what we do, that you might also use when you teach, is you create certain cases where everybody plays a certain role. Let's say it's a court, right? One is the judge, another one is a prosecutor, and then there's one is attorney, right? The defender, and then there is a witness, right? There's so many roles, and then people will start, and you don't give them anything else. You just say, hey, I don't know what happened. Let's start with a witness. And witness was like, I don't know, I was sitting at home and then I saw him climbing on that window. And I didn't do it. Like, no, I saw you. And then the advocate, this attorney says, no, he didn't do it. Like, judge can. And people immediately start talking without knowing that they can't talk because they need to play their role.
Unconsciously, they're playing a role and speaking and using that language, Yeah, they're not knowing that they're learning a language.
Exactly. They try to say something in Uzbek, and I would say, oh, no, English only. It's like, I don't know how to say it in English. Ask me, I'll tell you. But say it and remember, and they will remember it better versus some lecture or something in the book, right? Because they used it. They wanted it right now, right here.
All right, I see. All right. So as we promised, as it's common, usual habit to get to ask 2 main questions, but from not me, of course, but from the speaker, and the speaker should have a gift for those who answer for the first time, and then the speaker is going to decide how many winners will be and what the gift will be. So Shavkat Aka, 2 questions, and then I just wanted to remind that it's natural. I didn't, tell him what questions he might ask, but he is now here, and then so he's gonna ask that question. 2 questions, please.
Okay. All right. Cool. So one would be tricky, and another one would be important. So the tricky one. When you go, it used to be like that, not anymore. But when you go to work for Google, they will ask you this question.
We have to translate it, because they cannot be good at English language for those who are watching us.
You don't have to be good at English. It's very simple. You need to think. I'll tell you. So imagine you're driving a car.
Mashina haydavostirda tasavvur qilamiz.
You have your seat where you sit and drive, and you have a passenger seat and nothing else. Small car, right? So you drive. And the weather is really, really bad. Terrible weather. It's heavy rain, maybe it's snowing. It's pretty bad. And then you drive and you see on the bus stop 3 people. One is your best friend, some guy who really your friend. Right? And you're a guy, just making sure, if girls are watching, you're a guy who's driving. And this is your best friend, also a guy, your childhood friend. And then there is a beautiful girl. You don't know her, but you're not married. You're like, oh my God, this is the dream girl. And third is a very, very old woman who is super sick and will die if you don't help her. So 3 people. You have only 1 seat. So you stop, and the question is, who would you take out of the 3 and why?
Why? All right. Alright, first question. Ya'ni sizlar yo'lda ketyapsizlar, mashinada bitta o'rindiq bor oldinglarda va ostanovkada 3 ta odam chiqdi. Birinchisi eng yaqin o'rtog'inglar, juda yaqin o'rtog'inglar, ikkinchisi bitta qiz va uchinchisi esa, ya'ni qizni tanimaysizlar, uchinchisi esa bir katta yoshli ayol, juda ham ya'ni nozik va juda ham kasal deb aytsa bo'ladi. Agar sizlarning yordaminglar tegmagan bo'lsa, u balkim ya'ni olamdan o'tib qolishi ham mumkin. Va diqqat savol, siz ostanovkada to'xtab qaysi birini o'zingizlar bilan olgan bo'lardinglar? Chunki bitta o'rindiq bor va nimaga?
Qiz juda chiroyli qiz.
Qiz juda ham chiroyli qiz ekan.
Sizga juda yoqadi.
Sizga juda ham yoqadi. All right. And the next question?
All right. Second question, more important. This is a tricky, fun question, but if you don't get it right, you don't get a prize, right? So, second question: why do you want to do something you want to do? So, in terms of career, like you chose to be a doctor, a lawyer, or an IT guy, like what we talked about. Anybody, doesn't matter. Just tell me why. In just few sentences. Don't write like a long letter. Just like 3-5 sentences. Why I want to become this person.
Ya'ni savol, qanaqa professiya, kasb sohibi bo'lishingizdan qat'iy nazar, tanlashingizdan qat'iy nazar, nimaga o'sha kasbni tanlayapsizlar? Bizga juda ham ko'p javoblar kerak emas, faqat bitta gap bilan qisqa lo'nda qilib yozishinglarni xohlayman va ikkita savol va menimcha shu savollarga javoblarga yarasha menimcha ya'ni bir sovg'asi ham arzigulik bo'lsa kerak. Shavkat aka, nimaligini aytib qo'yasiz sovg'ani? So what is the gift?
So the gift is writing notepad, simple notepad, right? And then a pen. But both of them are from Microsoft. They have Microsoft like branding all over them. So this is the winner gets both, right?
The winner will be one only.
We can make it one for the notepad and one for the pen, but I think it should be one.
All right. Demak, ikkita narsa bor ekan. Bittasi ruchka, ya'ni brend ruchka, ikkinchisi bloknot. Lekin bular eng qizig'i Microsoftdan originalni, ya'ni o'zlari ishlaganlar, o'sha yerdan originalni bloknot va ruchka. Menimcha yutuq sohibi bitta bo'lgani yaxshi. Bloknot ham ruchkani olsa, eslab, Shavkat akani eslab, Microsoftni eslab va o'shanga qarab motivatsiya bo'ladi. Balkim sizlardan ham Microsoftga borib ishlaydiganlar va o'tda o'rgangan tajribalarni O'zbekistonda tatbiq qiladigan yoshlar ko'payadi. Avvalambor Shavkat aka, bizani o'zimizning ona tilimiz, ya'ni o'zbek tili bo'lganiga, men o'zbek tilida yakunlashga, ya'ni qaror qildim. Kattakon rahmat. Sizga o'xshagan mentorlar, sizga o'xshagan ustozlar, sizga o'xshagan ota-onalar, ya'ni o'zini shaharni sevargan bolalarga siz o'zingiz aytgandek beminnat dars berargan. Mana hozir aytyapsiz, men invest qilyapman va ko'pinchasi fail bo'ladi, lekin men harakat qilyapmanki, o'sha kelajakda prosper qiladigan, rivojlanadigan bizneslarga harakat qilyapman, startaplarga invest qilishga deyapsiz va kommentariyada izohlaringizni kutib qolamiz. Shavkat aka bilan hali juda ham ko'p ishlar qilamiz O'zbekistonning rivoji uchun degan umiddamiz va sizlarni yordamingiz bizga ham juda ham kerak, qo'llab-quvvatlab shu videoni agar foydali deb bilsanglar, o'zingizlarga o'xshagan passionate, ya'ni ixtirosli do'stinglar bilan bog'lansanglar, men o'ylaymanki, bugungi suhbat juda ko'p odamlar uchun foydali bo'ladi degan umiddaman. Keyingi Ibrat farzandlari ko'rsatuvlarida ko'rishguncha, xayr, salomat bo'linglar.